It's
One.
amazing.
Yeah.
There's another button.
And so that's why we killed everyone in the show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yes,
That's,
absolutely.
And we're live! Hello, everybody!
Hey!
Welcome to the live stream!
With that totally true things that we always say. Oh,
Yes.
let's, you know what, guys? Let's take a moment to put our phones on silent.
These trolls.
Like I totally am
my
about to
phone
do.
is not even in the room.
Wow.
Bang the boom.
Pro.
Impressive.
Professional.
I love the view right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
it's
was
just
great.
your shirt.
Let's
It's
just
a good
just
view.
stay there.
Let's just appreciate this view.
Yeah.
It's a nice shirt.
It is a nice shirt.
Yeah. So welcome. Ow.
Sorry.
Oh no.
It's okay.
Oh, God.
It's
This
okay.
is going so well.
I know. Yeah. This hot tea thing, guys. Don't do it. It's very dangerous.
Oh, it's for fools.
For you it is.
Yeah, really. But yes, welcome to our Patreon AMA for the month of December. I am Gabriel Urbina. I write the show, and I direct the show, and I produce the show. And with me are...
Zach Valenti. I spilled tea on Gabrielle. You might want to actually move over a little bit there.
Oh.
We can do this.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Sort of.
Sort of.
Fascinating. We might have to move the camera. We'll figure it out. Anyway, I play some characters and I write some stuff. And
Which
I'm
characters, Zach?
producing the
Too
bartender.
many to count.
Yeah.
Mostly.
Yes.
Yeah. How about this guy?
I'm Scotty Shoemaker and I play Cotter.
What? It's so
Hey.
That's so
Oh,
weird.
I also
Ow.
spilled tea on myself.
You guys got
Karma.
your stuff
Get it
together.
together.
I don't have any tea, so I'm safe. Because I'm smart.
Cheers.
Cheers
Cheers.
to that, sir.
To Scotty being safe.
Safe and smart. I'm Sarah Shackett. I'm a writer and producer on the show.
And I'm gonna readjust the camera
Mm.
without ruining everything.
Okay.
While Zach does that, disclaimers.
Yes.
Disclaimers and warnings and all the good
Spoilers
things.
and all sorts.
Yeah, you might have already noticed this, guys, but it's December and we are trying to get the show finished, which means that we're not sleeping at all.
We're a little loopy.
We're a little loopy, so this is going to be super mega awesome for you guys, because we're going to be super out of it and super honest with all of our answers. Hooray!
Hooray.
But that also leads us to our traditional spoiler warning. We're going to consider everything that is in the feed right now, up to and including episode 60, terms and conditions, as fair game for spoilers, for discussion, for dissection, for analysis, for anything.
Funny
So,
jokes, all the stuff.
If you are not totally caught up through episode 60 and you care about such things as spoilers, maybe,
Come back to this.
yeah, maybe go
Yeah,
watch
it's
a
not-
movie tonight instead,
Yeah.
and later on, this will be here waiting for you when you are caught up.
Just
Yeah.
don't watch Star Wars because everybody else has seen Star Wars but me.
Everybody go watch it before
It's
Zach can see
really
it.
good,
Yeah.
guys.
It's so good.
It's such a good
Such a good movie.
that everyone should have seen already.
That's right.
Yeah.
That one part where they.
Oh.
And then, yeah, we have some questions that were submitted through our form.
Thank you, guys.
We've also got a chat running, so if you want to put in questions from the chat, put them in the chat, and we'll do our best to answer those.
Yeah.
The chat moves pretty quickly, so sometimes we...
Won't see them.
Especially when it's as thin as it is this time, because I needed room for all four of us.
Great.
And Gabrielle gets half his face in the shot.
Oh, am I only...
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Would we fix
I
that?
fix it how?
Like,
Move the
scooch
camera
us all
back?
closer together?
We're so tight already. It's just like,
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
how
I
much.
think that this is fine. Audio is what really matters.
We got
I
like
think.
6 inches now.
We are a podcast. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scoot over a little bit.
Get on in.
Here.
But now Sarah's it's like, it's
It's
like,
fine.
It's gonna be the same
Let's-
thing either way.
It's fine.
Anyway.
Anyway.
Hi, everybody.
So yeah, questions. We should do that.
Let's ask a question.
Yeah.
In the Wolf 359 character, if the Wolf 359 characters were dogs, what breeds would they be?
I feel like we've answered this in the past, haven't we?
Seriously? Seriously?
I'm
What?
pretty sure that
I think
like,
they've
we
You've
have
answered it
come
before.
up.
I love the question, but
So Scotty,
funny that you would answer it
Scotty,
before.
rapid fire, Eiffel,
Oh, Eiffel would be like a sheepdog.
sheepdog,
Yeah.
Minkowski.
Oh, I'm doing all
Yes,
of them.
yes, yes.
Oh,
This is
what's
why.
a very
Did
like?
we not tell you this was why you're here?
Yeah, right. You're testing my knowledge of dog breeds. I'm not even sure.
You could just say, you could describe them the way Eiffel would, like.
Oh,
the
I
fluffy
mean,
little
Koski would
one.
be like a German Shepherd because they're like the police dogs, you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
super.
Right.
That's the point.
What about Jacoby?
Jacoby.
Mixing up the
What
orders.
dog's just like destroying, like a lab maybe or something, like a
Okay.
dog that would
Okay.
like tear up all of your pillows and,
Yes.
and dig under the door.
What about
Sure.
Hira?
and thing? Oh, Hira.
Hira's tough.
Ooh, that is tough.
You know those Sony dogs, like Asio, the like little like
That's just
robot
I was
dogs.
thinking, yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking like one of those like Japanese
burp.
robotic
Woof,
dogs,
woof.
but that's too easy.
No, it's low hanging fruit.
What about Cutter though?
He'd be one of those big, burly, fluffy dogs with like
The Saint Bernard.
the Saint Bernard with like the whiskey neck thing.
I think that's
I think
almost
it's
too
brandy,
nice.
no?
That's too
Brandy?
Yeah.
nice.
I was
That's
thinking
too
like a
helpful.
greyhound or a Great Dane or something. Like a
Aw.
greyhound's so
Great
like
Dane could be good,
Great
yeah.
Dane would be
silky
good.
and-
Yeah,
Right,
I just like
yeah.
him having whiskey around his neck.
That's Kepler.
That's Kepler. Yeah.
Yeah, Kepler. Yeah. Oh, who did you say? You Cutter?
You said Cutter.
Oh, whoops. I thought you said Kepler. You said Cutter. I heard Kepler.
Loopy.
Anyway,
no
whatever.
sleep.
Yeah, there you go.
Here we are.
Promised and delivered.
Anyway, what's gonna happen with the Patreon next month? We'll know more next month. Probably.
Well,
What we can assert.
Oh,
a
they
little
say
bit.
Cutter would be a cat, and that is so true.
yeah,
Good
we'll
job.
we're still figuring out a couple of the nuts and bolts of it. And we will definitely have an announcement about what is going to happen with Patreon.
By the finale?
If not by the finale, by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Of some sort. But I think that, like, what we can say is that there will definitely be an end point to the Patreon, and it will not be like December 26th of this year, the
Yeah.
day after the finale gets uploaded.
Right.
We're talking about doing a couple of like extras and a couple of bonus things, and it is also one of those things where like as like has always I think been like our policy with the show, but will especially kind of be our policy in kind of like the show's echo period. You support us for as long as it makes sense to you guys, and as long as you want the rewards, and as long as you feel that you're getting something out of being our patrons. And
Yeah.
the
Right.
moment that you're like, I think that this is where this particular train is going to stop for me, we will only high five you and wish you well on your future adventures.
Right.
Exactly.
But
And we'll be like really transparent about like what things are for.
oh yeah.
Yes.
If we keep this up, for an extended period of time.
But short answer, it's not going to be like immediately disappearing
Yeah.
right after the show is over, but it'll kind of have like a new format in a limited run capacity.
Right. Where we'll hopefully get to do some exciting things.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which we're already talking about.
And for more on that, stay tuned.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm just gonna try to make more room
Okay.
for us. But while that happens, Scotty, what's your favorite thing about playing Mr. Cutter?
I saw that question. It's fun just being that smart. just being like a step ahead of everybody
Yeah.
is so much fun. Like imagine like Benedict Cumberbatch playing Sherlock. Like how much fun would that have been? Like to have like super power like brain abilities. You know what I
Right.
mean? And just like talk really fast and jump ahead of everybody. And I think that's just like super fun to do. Fast dialogue, being really like super intelligent.
And also to like have all the information, like on top of
Yes.
having all
Yes.
the like brain
Yes.
power, to just be like the one person that like
That knows
always
everything.
knows
Yeah.
what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. What a great thing to be. And then I would say that, and then I would also say trying to humanize like someone who could easily fall into like an evil caricature. And I think that is like a fun puzzle to try to put together to be like, how would a real person get to this point?
Yeah.
Right.
Well answered. Oh boy, what did I do?
Hold, please.
There we go.
Plus, sounding that pleased with yourself has to be fun.
Yeah.
How could it not?
Good.
Continue to hold, please.
Yes.
As we
As we
sort
adjust
through our
our.
technical difficulties.
I see what you're doing there, Zach.
Yeah, it's pretty ingenious, I think.
Yeah, I think you're doing
Yeah.
well.
end.
Yeah, that looks. There you
Woo!
go. There you go.
Yeah, Tiffy, people were asking where Tiffy is. She is playing in the living room. Jesus.
Oh God.
So yeah, now we have everybody in the shot, and nobody's not in.
Great.
How did you get
yeah.
into voice acting and or writing for podcasts with no experience in either? Not like a finished product, but with no experience script writing, voice acting. It's hard to know where to start beyond the vague feeling of, I want to do this. Great question. Gabrielle.
I'm not sure I sort of understand the not like a finished product bit of this.
But maybe just like going
Like-
But
from.
in gen,
They're saying they haven't, not even have they like not made a finished product. They've never even script written, or voice acted in any capacity.
capacity.
Whereas like you had written for film, I had voice acted in commercials. So like we weren't starting from zero. They're starting from like more zero than we started from when we hadn't done a
Well,
podcast before. Does that
I
make
will,
sense?
yeah, and I will.
Is that
tell
what they're
you,
asking?
I think
Do you
so.
guys think?
Do you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's Kill Hilbert was the first script I ever wrote, you guys. So it is doable to just jump in. And I would say that like the more you read or consume in any capacity of the thing that you want to do and like look at it critically, the more tools you'll have and the more prepared you'll be. And
Yep.
then it's just having the confidence or having, the support structure, usually both there, to just start doing stuff. And like fan fiction's a great entry point, just like voice dubbing your favorite films, I would imagine, is a good entry point for voice acting. Like,
Yep.
there are ways to ease in.
And I think in terms of why we got into podcasting in particular, on top of all of that, it was also just like, that was the idea that we had.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, there wasn't sort of any moment where I was like, I know what the future is. I know where the big money is going to be.
No.
Podcasting.
No.
It was-
You happen to have an idea that was great for radio,
Yes.
and also as broke ass like liberal arts graduates.
it lined up nicely
was
with
free.
that.
Yes.
Right.
yeah.
It was sort of something that was the right combination of like, oh, this is an idea that wants to exist in this medium, and this is a medium that I can actually afford to work in. That's right.
And there was another element of it was fast.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
with film, it's like even if you can do it for cheap, it's like basically you can do things quickly, you can do things cheaply, or you can do things well. Pick two. And
Isn't
it was
a Coppola thing or like.
this is the Iron Triangle of
Yeah.
Project
Right.
Red.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, we were just like, great, it's cheap and we can do it well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, don't
But you
get hung
wanted,
up
but you
on-
wanted to be a
And we can do
voiceover.
it
fast.
You
Yeah.
wanted to be a voiceover actor before that, though.
Yeah, very, very much so.
So how did you get into that? Sort of, what was the start of your podcasting
Well,
or
so
voice acting dreams?
the
Rather.
start of my voice acting dreams were when I was, I think I've said this before in the stream, but I was like maybe 13. I got a cough that wouldn't go away for like 7 months. And then it did. And my voice sounded a lot like it does now. And I was like 14, and it was really weird. And I got the nickname Mr. Movie Phone. And I started joking that I should be a voiceover artist. Mostly my friends joked at me that I should do voice acting. And then when I was in my senior year of high school, I was like, hey, Mom, everybody jokes that I should be a voice actor. How do I be a voice actor? She's like, let me introduce you to somebody who's a voice actor. And they looked me in the eye
Wow.
when I met them, and they were like, you have what it takes, but you need to quit everything else in life and only do this. And I was about to leave for college, and I was like, holy shit, that sounds like totally unreasonable, and also would make my parents disappointed in me.
Yep.
Because they really want me to go to college.
Yep.
And so I
Your
didn't
parents
do
are good
it.
people like that.
Yeah, so I didn't do it. And then in senior year of college, after more jokes ensued, and I did some voice acting for the radio, the community radio station, where I volunteered my time to read the, like, Monday morning Jive at 5. Coming at you on 88.1 FM, WESU, broadcasting with 10,000 watts of power.
Can we go back and find those?
yeah.
Yes, please. Internet.
So I would read the community calendar, and I learned a lot of bad habits doing that, which I later learned because I pursued a career in commercial voiceover in New York City, which mostly consists of paying a bunch of money to take classes with amazing casting directors in the city that will then call you in for potential jobs that they have no power about booking you, really. So it's just like, yeah, so it's one of those things where it's like, I was about 2 years and like $2,000 into like paying my way to try to make money as a voice actor, and was just like fed up with this racket of not booking work. I was under 25 at the time, so I couldn't do alcohol ads, and having a reel didn't help. Like, you know, it helped me because I could get onto a website that I then had to pay money to take auditions. And so when I heard that somebody had an idea for a show and I could act in it, it was like, fudge, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess what you're saying is that, like, find outlets where you can do stuff, whether it's community radio, whether it's stuff with your friends, like, find a structure to just start trying if it's something you want to try.
Right.
And I would say don't get too hung up on the fact that you don't have any experience, because
Yeah.
neither does anyone else when they start.
And also, who's to say experience is good experience?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think more often than not, like, I think I when I got into commercial voice acting, had to unlearn how to do, like, this, like, very, like, you know, announcery voice that I thought people wanted, but turned out that that's not what they want. Which is good, because, like, Doug Eiffel wouldn't have been half as human at the beginning of the show if I had been indulging that sort of, like, super radio announcer for, like, all those years that I was taking those classes. So it all pays off. Action rather than, like, concerns about right action is, I think, for these creative things, like, go fail in safe ways rather than don't do anything if you want to do something.
Word.
I guess one of the safest things you could do is just read to yourself stuff that you love, like books that you love. Just read out loud. It's kind of weird to do alone in your room, but
It'll
definitely is practice.
It'll train you how to use your instrument.
And then I was also going to say the volunteering thing. I have a lot of friends who have either volunteered at local radios or volunteers. There are some programs where people can go and read to the blinds, and that's really cool. I know people.
Oh,
who've
yeah, I
done
did that.
You did that?
That's how I got Tiffy.
There you go. Really?
Yeah. She threatened to haunt me when she died if Julia Sheldon, I used to read to on the Upper West Side.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
You'll get a cat out of it. No.
Yeah, yeah, right. The biggest thing.
Not
The most-
not guaranteed.
Yeah.
Also not necessarily recommended, although I got really lucky.
That's awesome. Yeah, and you can also go like read to kids in school. I know there's like school volunteer programs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have questions in the chat, make sure that you post them until we answer them.
Right.
Yeah.
We may not catch them as we're answering questions.
Indeedy do.
Right.
How do y'all feel about the end of Wolf 359?
Conflicted.
Tired.
I'm not crying, you're crying.
Mostly I feel tired.
Yeah, you know, there's a reality of... We've been doing this for 3.5 years. And for 3.5 years, especially for the two of us, it has been a...
Non-stop race.
And a full-time and a half job, basically. Like, sort of, you know, we've both been putting on a slow week between 30 and 40 hours a week in the show. And I think that, especially at the end of this year, and especially coming up on 16 weeks of posting weekly content,
Yeah.
we are all kind of
ready for a fucking break.
yeah, we're ready to kind of like, you know, have this out there and go to sleep. And there's also like a little bit of a thrill of like, you know, the
We've been
house
building
is
up to this moment.
95% painted. We're excited for it to be 100% painted and for people to be able to see the full design of it.
Yeah.
And I think that we're going to feel that way up to and including December 25th, and we're all going to like kind of heave a very heavy sigh of relief when it actually is out, and
Yeah.
when we have kind of, you know, regardless of whether people love the ending or really, really, really love the ending, and those are the only two
Those
options.
are the only two choices.
really.
Yeah.
Yes. No disappointment.
We're going to feel really, really just kind of like relieved and excited and exhilarated to have done something from beginning to end.
Yeah, I'm grateful, I think.
I think on December 26th, speaking only for myself, I'm probably going to feel really, really sad. And I'm going to like really, really miss it. And doing this year, I think, has only reinforced our certainty that ending the show on season 4 was the right choice. And I think that hopefully listening to season 4, you guys can see why it was a choice that we consciously needed to make. If we were going to do things like the Loveless special, if we were going to bring Scotty into the main cast and bring Price into the main cast and bring, Julian Silver into the show and kind of do all these things that kind of once you put those genies, once you let them out of the bottle, you kind of can't put them back in, and the show kind of grows into like an even bigger, more unwieldy beast.
Yeah, it just gathers momentum. At a certain point, you can't hold it back.
But yeah, I'm really excited for it to be over. I am also, I think, going to be deeply, deeply crushed when on December 26th, I don't have a work creative reason to call all these very fine humans and have an excuse to get them to get together and put words on a page for them to read until we come up with whatever the next thing is. And that will be new and exciting in its own way, but it will never quite be this very amazing, very precious thing that we've been working on for 40 months? 40 plus months?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
40 months of beer on the wall.
40 months of beer.
I'm not avoiding complicated emotions. 39 bottles.
That was
And
a
you know,
very
and
iPhone
like,
moment there.
and I'll say this much. I think that all year long we have been having sort of a like adorably naive thought
Oh, yeah.
of like, well, once we kind of get past June when we're doing like a lot of recording, things will get easier. Oh, well, actually, no, you know what? We got behind on some scripts. So like, it's really going to be once we get past September. Oh, no, really, once we get past October. And we sort of kept having this thought that at some point, all that would be left would be editing, and things would just
No,
kind of...
because you guys are amazing and keep making our Patreon dreams not just be Patreon dreams.
Exactly.
Because you're just
Right.
doing it all the time. And here we are with like, I think we're just a couple $100 away from the Doug Eiffel
Yes,
live
that's
show, which is
right.
insane.
Nuts.
Yeah.
What?
Which, in my
Right,
mind,
we still
and this
have
is
a book we have to write after
We do,
December
we do.
26th.
We do.
Yeah.
right, and in my mind, that is
And
like,
that is a lifeline that we have.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I'm holding on to that.
But
That's one of the questions.
like what I love about the Doug Eiffel live show is one, I imagine it as sort of like the stand-up hour that I would never be confident enough to deliver without the distance of a character. And two, I'm gonna be like one of the things I'm doing next year because I just like got the deal, like just like like they want it, is I'm gonna be driving to St. Louis with Project Uplift in the spring.
Nice.
Which is
Nice.
really exciting.
That's great.
And also means that I'll be driving to St. Louis, and if we have a live show written that's like a one-man thing, I can do it in bars all the
there
way
you go.
there.
Yeah.
And if anybody doesn't know what Uplift is, you can read about it at
.is. It's my insane
That
mental
one.
health awareness campaign.
Check it out.
It is
It's worth a
pretty
read. It's
insane.
really,
Yeah.
really cool. Awesome. Next question?
So we had a question earlier in the chat that was, what should we all do with our lives when the show is over?
Oh, re-listen to it.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Go back and listen to it again because the
Yes.
second time's fun.
And also listen to all the other amazing audio drama work from the Wooden Overcoats folks and Lauren Shippen and the Bright Sessions and all the amazing shows that are out there. Ars Paradoxica and Misha's crew. And yeah, I like, so that's one thing. And then also the biggest thing that you guys do for us, aside from like support us here on Patreon, is share the show with your loved ones.
Yes.
And people that you think would love it.
Yes.
It's just like amazing to watch the creativity that's happening out of this like whole space of audio dramas, and it's you guys sharing it that makes it a viable career path for more and more creators to get discovered and get funded and sell TV shows like Lauren, and it's just like a really exciting time to create, and we would have no jobs doing it if it weren't for folks like you that not only support but also share.
And speaking of jobs, if you have the means and the desire to do that, you should totally hire us because I'm going to be unemployed in January. So what should you do with your lives after Wolf is over? Hire us. Give us money to provide you with goods and or services.
Yep.
Yeah.
I will widget all day for each and every one of you.
Oh, Jesus.
Will widget for cash. How about you guys? What do you think they should do with their lives after this show is over? In 2 weeks, in a week, this week.
Yeah, week
Yeah.
from tomorrow. There, Zach. It's only gonna get harder.
It's always good to be creative, and if you guys create something,
Yes.
you can
Yeah.
show it. You can show it to
Show
us.
it to us.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Share your creations
Right.
with us.
Yes.
After
Even
the
little
25th, my promise of not reading fanfic will be complete.
Oh Lord.
That's right.
I may
Oh
extend my
God.
pledge until the DSS PPM is over.
That's probably
Because
smart.
I don't want to be reading
Yes.
something and then have like
Okay,
a brilliant
that's fair.
tip come up that I can't
But
use.
I didn't even think about that. That's right. There's
Yeah.
so much fanfic out there, you guys.
There is. It's like a really alarming and touching amount of fan
It
fiction.
really is. Yeah.
And I really cannot believe how much time people have, how much of their own time and energy and creativity
Yeah.
people have put into this playground. Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. Let's see.
Next question.
What do you do to create the effect on Hira's voice that makes her sound mechanical-ish, AI-ish?
Yeah.
I'm making a short film for film school, and it would help a lot if I knew how to do it. So thanks.
So it's two separate things, and unfortunately, I'm only going to be able to get so technical. One is on Audition, which is the program that I use to edit the show. There is a specific kind of filter called Guitar, I believe it's Guitar Suite, that is obviously intended to be used for putting effects on guitar music. And so I use sort of that particular filter in order to get it to sound like her voice is coming through an amp, rather than just sort of like from a human mouth. And then the other thing that I do is I play with the delay on her right channel and left channel independently. And that's kind of what causes that like kind of stutter sounding effect on her voice. That there will be sort of a like, she'll be speaking normally and then there will be like a spike in the delay levels, and they won't be exactly the same amount. Like sort of the right channel will be delayed by 400 milliseconds and the left one will be delayed by 800 milliseconds. And the key to get that sounding good is it being like fairly haphazard and fairly irregular. So I usually don't even sort of try to do it at like keywords. I
was
just
gonna
tend
ask
to
if
kind
you
of
just kind of do it at random.
No, I tend to just do it fairly at random along the sound wave. And then I adjust a little bit in order to make sure that most of what she says is understandable. But yeah, that is kind of what we do to adjust Michaela's vocals.
My favorite question that popped up in the chat just now from Carola is, on a scale of 1 to super duper evil, how do you feel about ending the show on December 25th? Super duper evil, maximum evil, and here's why. Because not only is it Doug Eiffel's canonical birthday,
That's right.
we also found out that it is the 359th
59th
day of the year, which I didn't know.
I
Yeah,
had no
no,
idea.
we didn't.
I
I don't
felt
think
like
any of
awesome
us knew about that.
Yeah. Whoever
Scotty,
pointed
did you
that
know
out-
that?
Wait, explain that to me.
So
So-
December 25th,
Yeah.
if
When
you
the
start
last
counting
episode's
like
going live,
January 1st, January 2nd, January 3rd,
Okay.
like day 1, day 2, day 3.
It's the 359th
It's the
day.
359th
Okay,
day
gotcha,
of the
gotcha,
year.
right, okay. Wow, I hadn't, yeah.
How amazing is
That blows my mind a little bit.
Totally unintentional.
That's
Yeah.
so
Synchronicity.
nice.
But yeah, I mean,
That's funny.
it is a tradition here at Wolf 359 because season 1 and 3 also had their finales coming out on December 25th.
That's right.
So that is also sort of like a part of it. It is just kind of like the day that we like to end our seasons. And you know, we like to kind of bum people out on Christmas. It's
Appropriate.
one of our hobbies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only fitting.
Well,
So, yeah.
also, that way it makes it really easy for you to share it with all your fans. No, we didn't think about that.
That's right, that's right.
Hopefully you will share it with your friends and families, at the very least involuntarily over the dinner table, because you'll have a lot to say about how you feel, like I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most heartbreaking Christmas present ever is right. Okay. Aside from the Goddard, so one, there's a lot of questions about, is this the last AMA? No, we will be back for a post-finale AMA
Yes,
at
we
least.
will.
We guarantee that. That will probably be a larger public-facing one.
That's right.
We don't have anything on the calendar yet, but wait for
We'll,
that.
Stay tuned.
we'll let you know.
Yeah.
Right now, a lot of our energy is just focused on
We just gotta get
getting
this
to
done.
the
Just
end
gotta
of the
get this
show
done.
and not dying.
They said, no, all you have to do is drop the episode at 3:59 p.m.
Challenge not accepted at all. At all.
You were so close.
No.
Yeah, you can't do that.
No.
You gotta.
No,
We've-
3:59
we've been-
a.m.
We've
We gotta wake you all up.
No.
Yeah.
We've been so spotty with our drop record this year that I guarantee it'll be out on the 25th. Beyond that,
No promimes.
it'll be out when it's
Yeah.
out.
And like
Yeah,
maybe
it's ready
the
when it's ready.
25th Pacific time.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
No,
yeah,
no,
time
no,
zones.
no.
Yeah.
3:59 somewhere in the multiverse. Always.
That's right.
That is statistically
Lord.
undeniable. But aside from the Goddard special and the
Aw.
full DSS BPM, do you have any plans to return to this universe? Can we expect a publication of, and I love this, Fantastic Eiffels and where to find them sometime in 2019?
Aw.
Winky face.
So, I'm gonna be the Grinch with this question and sort of speak only for myself and say that I am personally excited to close the book on this universe and go and do other things and explore other settings. I think that the finale is really very much finely crafted to be something that is a definitive end to this story in a lot of ways.
Not in every way, but in
Not in every way. It's there certainly could be other stories, but it's not a finale that kind of begs more telling of the continuation. So never say never, but I think that before we return to it, and we certainly don't have any plans at the moment, you will probably get a couple of things from us, whether it is working together or on our own terms, that have to do with other settings and other characters and other stories, rather than Fantastic Eiffels and where to find them.
Right. Great answer. Well answered. So Kepler seems to be loyal to command through and through. ... Except for a couple of brief moments. That moment spanning the end of Idle Hands and the beginning of Devil's Plaything, when he caught Eiffel red-handed, not under control of Price's implant, and let him go.
This is such a dramatic
Possibly,
reading of this question.
yeah, no,
The
this is
moment
so unnecessary.
when he told Cutter it could take weeks to hunt down Minkowski, and Crew, through the vents, and Price said she could have them in 6 hours. What were those about? I guess we might find out in the finale, but... ... Did I miss something there?
I don't think that you missed
didn't miss anything.
anything there.
You
I
missed
don't.
Zach reading lines that way through the entirety of the show.
Yeah, fortunate you guys.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that there's anything that is you're meant to be wondering about that. I think is kind of the
Yeah.
good way to put it there.
It is that moment at the end of Idle Hands is a very conspicuous action.
And and Kepler is a survivor, and he tends to be someone that is thinking in a very multidimensional way. And remember, I think that with Kepler, it's always wise to remember that thing that Jacobi said in Matter of Perspective, that he always has at least 17 ulterior motives for everything that he's doing. So think about all of that as you think about what is going on in those moments, and you'll have
an answer
better
in the finale.
answer after the
Yeah.
finale.
Right. You ask questions that intricate. You get readings that intricate. Just saying.
Fair
for
enough.
all of the kudos for my reading. Thank you. Great. Let's see. Is there a specific type? A lot of Kepler questions. There's a specific type of person or trait that Kepler hates. Eiffel.
No.
Oh,
No, just people like Eiffel.
no.
No, I mean lazy people. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean,
I think he sees the best in Eiffel when he's, trying to manipulate him.
well, and I think that there's a very, distinct way that Kepler acts around Eiffel in season 3 versus how he
Yeah.
acts around them in season
Season
4.
four.
I think that the thing that Kepler most hates is the idea of kind of someone getting a chance to go up to the plate and like have a chance at like doing something big and doing something meaningful or doing something important.
And wasting it.
And wasting it,
Yeah.
especially through an action or through an ability.
Yeah,
Or
basically-
like misplaced priorities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, he hates on people who be given away their shot.
Yes, exactly.
That is, yeah.
or be missing their shot.
Missing their shot.
Right.
Or throwing it away, yeah.
So he does not like people who wait for it.
Yeah.
Well, except that he's kind of
Yeah.
the king of
He
waiting
is
for
the
it
king of
himself.
waiting for it. That's
Yeah.
Well, yes, but he's also fairly young, somewhat scrappy,
We need to stop.
perchance hungry.
I just need to take a break.
In case anyone doesn't know, we're all Wesleyan grads
And are obsessed with Hamilton.
Miranda, who went to Wesley and wrote
Yeah,
Hamilton.
when they give you your degree, they and this is retroactive too for us. They tattoo in your brain the lyrics
Yeah.
with their brain tattooer.
Yeah, I was not happy when I got that visit.
Wait a second, I'm gonna.
A final quiz you have to pass before graduating.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
In order
wrapping
to
all
get
of
your, yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's see. I was looking back at the script for language mapping and was wondering what kind of research Maxwell did to earn the Turing Grant. 1 million? Jeez, I'm so proud of her. Also, why'd she do that residency at the Charles Babbage Institute? Is she really into the history of information technology or what?
Yes.
Great
You know,
question.
Yes.
You know,
Please never change. That is such a good question.
It's very specific.
It is.
this is
You
this
know
is
so much more about this than I do.
this is one of those questions where it's like,
It's like those Babbagers. Gee.
and you know, this is one of those questions where we could sort of tell you what like our thoughts about that are, and sort of like what we think Maxwell was thinking about.
Mitzrayim just put in the chat. What? I had no idea y'all were from Wesleyan.
Sarcasm. You know what?
Apologies.
Too often I have been like the single person in like a chat room where like a long-standing like joke is being like tossed around. So if anyone was just like, I have no idea what they're talking about, and then like just like needed that little bit of information, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I'm looking out for you at the expense of literally everyone else.
You're so thoughtful.
I try. No, but like, we could sort of go through like, well, here's sort of what we specifically think Maxwell was doing. Just the fact that you know enough to answer these questions means that I think that you're going to find it more enjoyable to imagine what you think is sort of the appropriate thing for her to be doing there. And I think that the version of Maxwell's research and the work that she was doing in these programs that you come up with is going to be a lot more satisfying and a lot more specifically fulfilling.
And a lot more informed than
And-
anything we could say.
And a lot more informative of the character.
Yes.
Like, those are things that are... And we are very specific about which things we bring specificity to and which things we leave as
Sort
kind of Rorschach-y
generic,
blanks for people to be able to each see their own version of the character. And in a very, very specific and specialized way, I think that this is a very good blank.
Wait, hold up. So you guys like Hamilton or something? How
I
much?
feel personally attacked.
I don't. I like
Christina
Hamilton that
Kirkland.
much.
Question: How
care.
much do we have to pay on Patreon to get Zach, Ellen, Noah to read our fan fiction? The answer is $1 million.
No,
I mean, I thought that was the
That's-
last
that was
mission
what
mishaps
mis-
that
yeah.
Oh,
we
it's
just...
true.
No.
Yeah.
Sort of. A
We're
little bit.
really tired.
Anyway.
We let that through.
That's a question for the two of them.
You have to ask the two
Yeah.
of them.
I don't know what their policy is on reading fanfic
Yeah,
or
I don't
not.
know either.
So
We'll figure it out. They're on social media. I would ask.
The Bresco is.
yeah.
Here's a most perfect username asks, I love your username. It's perfect. Sorry.
no worries.
It disappeared. Well,
There's
basically,
more tea, so we're okay.
it was a question about. I used the informal you when talking to Cutter. Was that a translation
When
issue?
Hilbert used it.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the backstory.
Oh,
In
so
the
it's
backstory.
a Russian.
The mini
it's
episode?
a Russian question.
Yeah.
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 I think we made that choice. I think that when I was getting the translation.
Yeah, that's a question for you since you wrote it and you got the translation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't remember being involved in that one.
I thought we talked about it.
We talked about it, but like not about the translation.
Yeah.
We sort of trusted you on that.
Well, I think when I was talking to the Russian person, it was like, should it be
formal or not formal. I thought we talked about that. I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
It
A long
could
time
be.
ago. I think it was an
Yeah.
intentional choice, but I don't know. Do you have a perspective on it? People listening, I think that I don't know. They knew each other.
No.
No,
They were meeting the first time.
Oh,
Yeah, that was the backstory.
Right.
I mean, knowing
Before.
Yeah, I
Hilbert,
don't
it might be
remember.
like a power play kind of thing.
It might be, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I honestly don't remember.
Or he-
That-
I mean, he was
That
like, also, wasn't he, like,
summer was a blur, guys.
Yeah.
It was like very intimidating and scary kind of moment. I don't. Maybe you just would drop the formal use of something, right?
I think that would make you more formal. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah, I
know.
don't know.
Mm,
Good question. Sorry, we don't have a more fulfilling answer.
Yeah.
no.
Okay, so here's another question.
Uh-huh.
Just one more episode. I can't believe it. The tension and terms and condition was so beautifully built, and now I wonder, which was your favorite tense moment to write / act in the whole series, or which scene or scenes made you feel tense or anxious? Thank you. You're amazing. I wish you all the best in your future projects.
Aw,
Thank you
thank
Oh,
you.
thank
for that
you.
very sweet question.
Yeah. What about you, Scotty? What's your favorite tense moment?
Okay, yeah. Well, I can talk about terms and conditions because that's Cutter probably at his most tense because Price is in danger, right? And if Price is in danger, that is a serious problem for him. And there's not a lot of things that really throw him off, but that was the moment when he's like scared, and when he gets like scared and really serious, he just gets like really quiet and even more like down to business than normal. So that's a wonderfully tense moment, and probably the biggest one for him in this series, I would imagine.
Yeah.
It's when things are at the most
So far,
dire.
at least.
Yeah, right.
So far.
Right.
Right.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
What about you, Sarah? Any favorite tension, suspense
tension
moments?
I'm trying to think. Time to Kill was a lot of fun.
Yeah, word.
The standoff in Time to Kill was a lot of fun, and then hearing Michelle and Noah and Cece and you, Zach, go through that was just really fun to listen to. I'm always nervous about like tense things that I write, and I sometimes like kind of skip through the scene because I'm just like, I don't know if this is working or not. But that was one where I was like glued to my podcast player. So let's say that.
Scotty, remember this question as we continue to answer this other one that we're currently answering. Has it
see
been
it,
hard
yeah.
to empathize with or humanize Cutter? As for tense scenes, I think anything involving Eiffel and Anne is le hard and le sad,
Yeah.
le end. Gabrielle?
I mean, as far as suspense and tense things go, the two that come to mind are Empty Man.
Yeah.
Just because that was, I think, one of the first times that we all kind of really felt like, yeah, this
It's freaking creepy.
this script is actually getting to like a creepy place.
Yeah, Empty Man. The spider one, too. The
Right,
Extreme
Yeah.
Danger
Danger
Bug.
Bug. That was fun. And then I personally really, really like all the scenes with Eris in
Oh,
Change of
Yes.
Mind.
That's fucking creepy.
Just because, you know, we sort of had the problem of, well, you know, they're learning that they are, for all intents and purposes, in a dream.
Right.
So how do you make it so that there's actual tension and actual consequence? And once we kind of hit upon that idea where Eris kind of goes like, oh, that's cute, you think I can't hurt you? Okay, if I can't hurt you, how about I delete all the knowledge of English in Fourier's brain?
Yeah.
And once it kind of got to that point of like, oh, okay, maybe she can't physically affect them, but she can go and like alter their brains.
Yeah.
Then that became sort of like, I think, one of the most fun that we had with tense scenes and suspense scenes.
On that note, for Mitzrayim, before we get to the question for Scotty, any advice on how to have a slasher? I've just seen it like 2 or 3 times.
Sure.
Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah, slasher thriller. How do we do that? How do you write that?
Audio drama.
Audio drama.
Slasher.
Lord.
Yeah.
So first,
Well-
step 1, you buy Red Bull. No, don't.
No.
Please, Zach,
that's
don't
never
do
the
that.
first
No.
step
That's-
You
of
know that it's actually
anything.
for Loco.
Oh God.
They still have that?
Omar, why? Eris
They
is,
shouldn't.
Eris is the AI involved in box 953 from Change of Mind,
The Loveless
Yeah.
special. That's
as
up on the
people are
website.
chiming in the chat.
Yes. Yeah.
A slasher thriller.
Slasher.
Well,
I mean, thriller is one thing, and audio sort of leans into that because, like, you can't see things.
yeah.
Right, so many of the
Um,
techniques you'd use in film would just be like useless on as an audio.
In
Drama,
terms of
like-
Texas Chainsaw style slasher stuff.
And I would say just sort of think about a situation where the tension is coming from. If it's a slasher, I guess it would be because, where the tension is coming from, the killer we know is somewhere around, but we can't see him.
Yes.
So, so I think that, for example, if you're doing something where it's like, oh, we're all staying overnight at this, lakeside cabin because there's a hurricane, so we can't go out. And all of a sudden the lights go out and there's, a creaking sound somewhere around.
And everyone's in the same room. No one's upstairs, right, guys?
Right.
Yeah.
That'll, I think, sort of, help you to lean into the strengths of audio drama.
Yeah.
As opposed to, say, I think that, for example, something like Nightmare on Elm Street, where you're dealing with more fantastical elements and kind of, leaning into what is scary is how extreme the visuals of it are and how fantastical the
And you
situations
could
are.
have, sort of a fantastical villain that's omnipresent in the way that, those villains are. But you would need, distinct audio signatures for them. So that,
Yep.
when they show up in crazy places, you track it with your mind.
Yep. But yeah, I would say mostly focus on the tension coming from people not being able to see where the danger is coming from.
Yep.
Because that way, what your characters and your audience are going through will be the same process. And there are worse places to start off than that.
Yeah.
One practical note: you probably spend a lot of money on sound effects.
Or a lot of time making them.
Yeah.
Yeah, or a lot of time making them. But I imagine it would be very sound effect heavy, like the footsteps,
Yes,
creaking
absolutely.
doors,
Absolutely.
whatever.
Absolutely.
So that would be an added cost.
Yes.
Just
Horror.
time.
Horror is a very sound design heavy. Thinking about
Yeah.
our more horror heavy shows like
Yeah.
Time to Kill or Empty Man. Those are some of the more sound design heavy ones.
And I think the key word for all of this is subjectivity, where you're dealing with the subjectivity of your listener, your audience, and you're trying to essentially, when I use the word manipulate, I use in the sense that a magic trick is designed to manipulate people's sort of understanding
Get
and
you to think
it's
a
like
certain
sleight of
way.
hand, right? Exactly. So it looks like one thing's happening, but then it's another thing, which is I think a pleasurable experience, even if the pleasure is in it's kind of, and so thinking about it in those terms, and then layering the medium on top of that, that sort of thought process, you can then think about, what is available to you when all you can do is literally manipulate sound and sort of organize sound to get people to think one thing and then surprise them with something else. And Gabriel has some interesting stuff up on his blog about that. Nothing I think it's interesting. I know you're
No, I
excited about,
don't. I don't know that it
Totally
matches
applies.
this
Yeah.
very closely.
Question,
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's a good resource to think about the medium generally.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I should
There was a
probably-
Scotty question.
Yeah, I should probably answer that
Yeah.
question that we promised
Yeah.
to answer.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. We should do next.
Can we rephrase the question because I've forgotten what it was?
It was just how do I empathize / humanize?
Yes.
Cutter.
Yes.
Very good
And
question.
well, like I mentioned at the beginning of this, it's a very fun puzzle, and I very much appreciate it. But it's actually maybe not as hard as you would imagine. The thing about villains is they're very utilitarian, right? It's all the ends or the means justify the ends, in any way, and it's for, and that's just what you really need to focus on. And honestly, I get it. I get it in some ways. It's if you're gonna save more people or you're gonna create a better world,
Cost
yeah,
of doing business.
so what? Maybe you, yeah, exactly. Honestly, as Hilbert would say, but and so it's I just understand that part of me that logically it makes sense, and if you're a very logical person, you just lean into that
Yeah.
and you continue.
Yeah.
I think a lot about Harry Potter when I think of this too, which is the whole for the greater good thing with Dumbledore and
Right.
Yeah.
yeah. And so I think about that. And of course, that's like your classic evil, is that they lose sight of the humanity of people and do horrible things to people in the moment in order to justify the outcome.
Robert Moses.
Yeah,
same
they're thinking
story.
so big.
Yeah.
that,
But who says they're wrong, right?
What-
If they're thinking so big, if they're really saving people.
No, just like there you
They're
go,
really doing
folks.
better.
Cutter is just like Dumbledore. You heard it here first.
Somebody wrote
that's
that?
funny.
No, Scotty just said something like
Nice.
that.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
That's funny.
So that you're pointing at the questions.
No, I'm pointing at the
Yeah.
camera.
Yeah.
Nice.
Just to add emphasis. Does that answer the question, sort of?
Yeah,
Yes.
it totally does.
I think it answers great.
Good answer to good question. How did you come up with Cutter's voice? Because as much as I love to hate it, it's deliciously evil, and I love that.
Interesting. Oh man, I mean, Cutter was just so fun, and I think the words were so fun and flamboyant and theatrical that it just, I don't know, when reading it I just automatically went into a higher register.
Nice.
And I just think that's, and then that was sort of the spark that took it from there. But it was just, why is that? I don't know why that is. I think it just must have been the way that I reacted to the writing, was to just be a little bit more, have more fun with it and theatrical and kind of just and play with it, and that took me higher. But I can't explain that, unfortunately.
So I have a follow-up question for you, but let's get on the back burner. This is like the third time I've seen Rena's question about what would have been different if we had cast a female voice actor for Kepler.
Ah, yes.
But before we get to that, I have a follow-up. As somebody who's played 2 Urbina villains,
Yeah, we'll bring
what
this
do
up
you have
again.
to say about playing Urbina villains?
Just generally,
Yeah.
I think there's certainly some crossover. Although they are very different, but both
Yeah.
have been very theatrical.
That's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in very different ways, and they're very different people, and one is much more delusional
Yes.
than the other.
Mm-hmm.
Cutter being the less delusional one, I think he's more clear-eyed. about
Yeah,
what he's
yeah,
doing.
yeah. I think that Cutter is like very firmly in control of his actions.
yes.
whereas-
In a way that the other
Absolutely.
Yeah.
is not.
Nice. So yeah, what if Kepler was a lady?
Yeah.
You know,
So that was considered.
Yes.
It
was. We
yeah.
auditioned- we auditioned
We didn't quite
people.
know. We had.
Yeah.
We read everybody for Kepler and Jacoby.
no.
No, just Kepler.
No, we
yeah.
auditioned every.
We-
Rachel and Kepler were both
Yes.
That's
cast
the one. That's
gender
the
same
blind.
time. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I forgot. There was
Um,
2. Yeah. That's-
Right. It was either going to be a male commander or a female commander, and then a male assistant or
Right.
a female assistant.
Right.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
You know, the short answer is that I think that it would have been a different person, and it would have had much more to do with the effect that
That person brought to it.
right,
yeah.
that the specific actress that was cast in
Yeah.
the role would have brought to Kepler, rather than it just sort of being like, well, we would have written female Kepler differently from a male Kepler.
Right.
Kepler became so specifically Zach Libresco
Yeah.
from
we
the
had
start.
not like dramatically different idea of Kepler before Zach showed up.
But I think that if you read-
but enough.
I think that if you
Yeah.
read the sample scene that we used to audition people and then read Securite,
Yeah.
you would go, these are distinctly different beings. Like there
Right.
is a difference here.
There
Yeah.
was
Um,
much less whiskey and certainly no pig.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's actually a really good way of putting it, Zach.
that is absolutely the correct
That's
way
what
to
I'm
put it.
And again, that doesn't come from like Kepler being male. That comes from what Libresco brought to the role.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, I
long
think-
story short, definitely
Definitely would not.
Libresco
Yeah,
edition.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, like gender dynamics play a role in how the characters relate to each other, but like, I don't think we could answer like consciously how that would have changed
Yeah.
the arc of Kepler's story.
Seems like you guys are really kind to each other in the chat, which I really appreciate. So thanks for being great.
Yeah.
Is the final episode title a reference to The Tempest or to Aldous Huxley's Brave New World?
That would be telling.
You'll know.
Bum,
on this-
bum,
you'll know on
You'll
December
know.
25th if it is any of the above or other.
Kate Fairchild asks, Sarah, you called Rachel an assistant, but isn't she at the same level of command as Cutter? At least in the Goddard hierarchy?
I'm very tired, you guys.
No, she's not.
She's not.
But she's
She
not- yeah,
is.
she's
She
definitely
is
not.
distinctly below.
She's below Cutter. She's not.
Yeah.
The assistant is shorthand. She is very high ranking, but she's not the same level as Cutter. No.
Yeah, I think that Jacoby.
She
says,
can crush any one of us in this room.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah,
Not to say she doesn't have the power of God.
I'm pretty
But she
sure.
answers
in the
to
universe.
Cutter.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that in A Place for Everything, Jacoby says that she basically runs
Special projects. Yeah. No, and
Right.
he does
Cutter
say-
is in charge of many divisions of Goddard,
Including
Futuristics
special
as
projects.
the head of communications,
Yeah.
Right.
including special projects.
Yeah.
Right.
If you listen back to Kumbaya Approach, at the start of that episode, Cutter is doing a voice memo for all the different department heads.
that he manages. And so he mentions a few people, and if it had been a male person that we had cast, it would have been one of those names, I think.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. But yeah, and you sort of from there hear Rachel mentioned as a
Did he threaten to like throw her out the window
He
or
did.
something?
off the roof.
Off the
Off
roof.
the roof.
Yeah.
And-
Jeez.
but it would go by his window so that he could watch.
Exactly. Yes.
Is that the very first time I appear on the show? I
That's
think?
right.
Is
Yes.
that
Yeah.
like monologue where
Correct.
I'm typing or
Yeah.
yeah
Yeah,
You
where
come
you're doing,
in, like, crack
you're doing the
your neck
voice
and-
memo
yeah.
and you're playing the Rossini music.
yes
Um,
yes
That's right.
Speaking of
So great.
theatricality.
So great.
right.
What was the day that when Eiffel met Hera? The best day in that universe.
You know, we have very intentionally not shown a lot
Anyone's
of.
really. Like
Yeah.
first meeting except with Cutter.
Yes, exactly. But like we haven't
Yeah,
seen
right.
how
Yeah.
Minkowski met Eiffel, or how Minkowski and Hera met, or how Hera and Eiffel met.
Yeah.
Right. Whenever it ends with Eiffel, regretfully, but not in the long run, just in the first day.
And there's a very specific reason
For
for
why that is.
that, and for starting the show later on.
These
and
people
that
already
is-
all know each other.
Christina
Yes.
Kirkland with the killer comment. We all loved Rachel sympathetically. ... And then she appeared. A wild Rachel appeared. And
Right.
she's horrifying.
Right.
It wasn't what
You
anyone
can
asked
crush
for.
all your
Yeah.
dreams. Yeah.
I've seen that question a couple times.
Oh, what about the sunset in terms
Oh.
of condition? Was it metaphorical? Like, end of the world sunset?
So this is something that we talked about while we were recording that, because when you're in a space
Technically,
station looking at a
there's
sun,
no-
there's
there's
no
no-
way for you to be looking at a sun
Yeah,
set.
I remember
So,
I remember
yes.
asking you about that.
Yeah.
So, like, obviously there is some poetic license going
Correct.
on.
And I think that's sort of my interpretation of it is because the space station is spinning on its own axis as well as around the star. At a certain point, any particular window needs to either be facing towards the star or away from the star.
Yeah.
So the sunset might have just been sort of like, the star disappearing from that particular
From that
window's
view.
perspective.
Yeah.
How many times an hour does it turn?
I wouldn't.
I don't know.
I would not answer
That
that.
would be telling.
That's
Yeah.
for you guys to know.
I also
Math
think that,
majors
like,
unite.
they know each other well enough that, like, they know he likes westerns.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like a language shorthand with them.
Yeah. And knows, and I would not sort of give a specific amount because that way people could probably math how big the Hephaestus is, and that is something that I would
Fools
never
errand.
want
Yeah.
anyone to have a specific answer about.
Rena has the killer comment. Welcome to Wolf 359, where the physics are made up and the sciences matter.
Yes,
Yes.
that is
Absolutely.
100% correct.
This has been Wolf 359, where Rena is pretty much right all the time.
Well, it's one of those, like, I will always bow to things traveling at the speed of plot, or
Uh-huh.
things traveling at the speed of
Funny.
funny. Yeah.
Rashu Rao has a model of the Hephaestus.
Oh, cool.
Pretty
Great.
sweet. How big is the Hephaestus?
You'll never
Infinity
know exactly
and
as big
beyond.
as it needs to be in that specific episode.
True fact.
How do you guys feel about we did that pretty much. Now there's no will we be venturing into fan fiction, or is that too horrifying to think about?
At the very least, until we've written the DSS PPM,
Yeah,
I won't be
then
able.
no,
I won't be
I
doing
won't.
it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then I'll try to get them on a live stream and it'll be fun. How do you guys feel about watching us react to the finale? Are you going to be avoiding the internet all day or glued to your screen? How about somewhere in between?
Yeah, probably somewhere in between.
It is Christmas after all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How about this? If what is it? If a Nintendo Switch shows up, I'll be glued to the screen.
But a different,
I don't actually-
but a different
Real
kind
talk.
of screen.
I actually don't want it.
I think that was. I
What's
think
a
that,
screen that I don't have?
I think that was
Yeah.
a slight hint towards us, Scotty, for
Yeah.
what Zach wants for Christmas.
Cough,
Yeah,
cough.
yeah,
No, I
wink,
actually
wink.
don't really play
No.
video games. That's fine.
Where you guys?
That's because you don't own a Switch. That's the only reason why you don't play video games.
Are you all gonna be together on that day, or are you all gonna be in
I
New
mean,
York?
Sarah's gonna be in New Orleans.
You'll be back
I'm
in New Orleans.
gonna be home, so
Yeah,
I
if
am.
you guys are around, my family's doing stuff. You guys
That's
are
nice.
Yeah. We'll see.
His face is gonna be glued to editing it. Oh.
And then passing
Oh,
out when
and
he's
then-
done.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And then it won't be asleep because he will
Probably.
have deserved it.
Yeah.
Question for Gabrielle. So about the quotage of "We'll meet again" in episode 60. I know you said the song was going to have a place in the finale. Is that still going to come back and kill our feelings?
I'm pretty
Wow.
sure that was that getting paid off.
That
I
was
think that
was
we.
kind of that.
Yeah, I think we intentioned
Yeah.
that line to be in the finale, and then like in the great edit shuffle, it ended up being in terms and conditions instead. So,
Yes.
nope,
That was
that is that.
Sarah, hit me up when you're in New Orleans.
You guys.
Also, to everyone, what's your favorite headcanon for your character / a character of your choice? Fan-made or your own ideas are fair game.
Okay.
Um,
I like the one where Eiffel, and I've said this before, has ADD or ADHD or something like that. Mitzrayim just teeing up who would be who in Lord of the Rings, nudge Sarah.
Jesus.
But while you think of that, I really like the one where Eiffel had like learning disabilities in school and like had to learn himself, like
Heater.
yeah, the space heater turned on because it's cold in New York. But it's not with the space heater.
I took off my sweater. I'm warm.
Yeah.
Continue.
What was I saying? Something about how he basically could relate to people and situations through pop culture. And that's like how he became like his referential self, was like trying to fit in.
you know, early into season 3, Michelle shared with me a couple of
Yeah. I know what you're
sort of
talking about.
ideas about the relationship between Maxwell and Jacoby and how she thought of it. And I don't want to sort of go into it in too much detail because it basically like it might sort of go into making a couple of things that should be open to interpretation specific, but it all kind of boils down to like she just wanted them to have the best relationship and she just wanted them to be so close and so much like the greatest friends. And that was an interpretation that I really, really enjoyed and that like I've really always found very sweet, especially while writing them in the days when they were much more unambiguously the villains.
Yes. No, like, I that in 33 was present in my mind. I'll say, I actually wrote out a list of who is the best shot.
Yes, this is
I
great.
really like this.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah,
It includes the original Hephaestus crew now.
right.
Um,
It is an amazingly detailed ranking
yes.
of who could kick whose ass in the shooting range, and
yeah,
it's amazing.
specifically with small arms. Like,
And who's number one?
I mean, Lambert's up there.
Lambert is up there.
He's
yeah.
a good shot. You want him on your team.
Yeah.
Damn
Are you
straight.
going to release this at any point?
No.
Probably not.
No.
I'll show you though.
Yeah. Oh, that's just me.
What about you, Scotty? Do you have any headcanons for Cutter that you really like?
Oh, I can't say, unfortunately.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
So, is it established that Keller from Zhang's transmission is also Cutter? How old are these people? Does Bryce look like a little old lady?
Yes, Keller is also Cutter. I think that now that is a safe
I think that's
dot to
I
connect.
think
How old are these
clear.
people? That would be telling.
Does Price look like a little old lady? No.
No, she does not.
From terms and conditions, we know that Eiffel
looks
said that
young.
they both look like they're in their late 20s.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Was it tricky in season 3 to keep the balance of awe-inspiring and terrifying coming from the SI5 crew? I loved it. Thank you, you guys. Thank you.
You know, season 3 had a lot of challenges. That was not
not
really
hard.
one of
Yeah.
them.
What was one of them?
I mean, I think that, for example, keeping sort of comedy within the show.
Tone was a thing that we.
Tone
thought
was
about
a very
lot.
tricky balance.
Yeah.
And I think that season 3 was when we genuinely had to stop and start to kind of plot out, like, when are each of the characters going to get their moments?
Uh-huh.
Because it's not the
Like,
structure.
when will Hira get her moment to say fuck?
Never.
Never.
Um,
Never going
I
to
just
say
see
fuck.
all the chat about that right now.
No.
But you know, like season 2, except for the times when Hilbert was absent because he was in the brig, it was very easy to kind of be like, well, just by the natural rotation of the plot, every character will get at least one moment per episode to kind of track where they're at. But starting in season 3, all of a sudden it was like, no, it is no longer feasible to have a plot line for every character in every episode. So it all of a sudden had to be like, well, we'll do a Hilbert-heavy episode in Don't Poke the Bear, and then he'll kind of be present in A Matter of Perspective, absent from Need to Know,
But
back
that'll-
in full force in Fire
yeah.
and Brimstone. And all of a sudden that
And then
became
he'll,
an
like-
active concern.
And like yeah, the juggling act of like balancing characters, and
Yeah.
balancing who was gonna get to where. Yeah.
But in terms of balancing awe-inspiring and terrifying, Zach Libresco, Noah, and Michelle are awe-inspiring and terrifying. We got out of their way, mostly.
About Hira saying fuck. I mean, you guys asked for it. I'm just going to spoil. The last episode is just 45 minutes of Michaela Sweet just screaming in a glitchy voice, fuck!
Right. We were all just there in the studio to watch and support her. Her just, like,
With really
sailor.
ambiguous like sound effects, like
Yeah.
like shattering glass and like footsteps.
Real talk. When the actual episode comes out on December 25th, remember this. Because this is what we didn't give you. Remember.
But like 45 minutes.
Okay.
Wall to wall.
Okay.
Again,
She doesn't have to deal with air. It's possible.
that's not what you're getting. So just remember, you could have gotten that.
Okay, let's see. There are questions. There are more questions that we haven't answered that have not to do with fuck. How do you guys choose songs for the Spotify playlist, which are awesome, by the way? Is there a kind of music that's most helpful for you to write and get into character? It's wild that Florence and the Machine works with Richie Havens and Kate Rusby and Joe Hisaishi.
Hisaishi.
But it does.
I mean, the short answer is no.
No.
Like, sort of the criteria for something ending up on the Spotify playlist is I, need to have me or one of the writers
Yeah.
needs to have at
And
some
it's
point
mostly
in the
you.
writing
Yeah.
gone, oh, that's a song that helped me to, figure out a character or figure out a moment or think about a situation or think about a person in the show.
Yeah.
And that is very, very subjective. And I don't find that there's one kind of music that really, really
It's
helps.
really-
It
And that is
depends.
like there are character playlists and the show playlists that are on your Spotify, Gabrielle. But like I think all of us who have done any writing have playlists on playlists on playlists
Yeah.
for like characters, for episodes, for moments, for like relationships.
Oh, yeah.
Like we got the playlist.
Yeah.
I just have the same Jan Tiersen playlist that I use for anything that I write ever.
Nice.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
That and which is usually just Dust Lane on repeat.
Fair enough.
And then I have there's another album, Level Live Wires. That's just like mostly just ambient droning. It's good.
Do you guys can write to words, like music with words?
It depends.
Yeah.
But yes.
No, yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's
I
interesting.
mostly-
yeah, I
I
can't
mostly
do that.
can't.
I can't do
I
that at
mostly
all.
just
I'm
need
not,
like.
I mean, a
Ambient
lot of.
riff.
I do like Arvo part, like
Yeah,
and
we
like
could write. Oh,
Aaron
man.
Aaron Copeland and stuff like that.
We're
like,
way
that's-
more similar than I think we realized.
Yeah.
at the beginning of the show. I noticed you also. Yeah, anyway, just like the plastic bag is like toiletries kit. I do the same thing.
Oh,
It's so much more effective.
For me?
Yeah, I do the same thing.
it's just literally like a Ziploc.
Yeah, I know. That's
Large
exactly
Ziploc.
what I travel with.
Yep. It's convenient.
What are you
and
most
it's
proud of about Wolf 359?
Oh, Lord.
Putting the people that this show has brought together in the same room.
Yeah.
Like I remember, I started to feel about that around the time that we did Need to Know, and there was just sort of a moment of like kind of watching like Michelle and Noah and Emma and Cece, and through the connection, Michaela, all kind of acting together. And chances are that these people would have all ended up performing together in another place. But there was something about like watching them all together and basically like standing back and seeing them do their thing and being amazing that I was like, if I don't do another good deed for a while, I can sleep well at night knowing that like I've helped the world at least a little bit by just kind of putting all these people together in the same room and letting them do their thing off each other.
Yeah, working with these folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing people together. I think it's amazing. I don't know if there would be another opportunity for all these people to work together. And it's
I
amazing.
Can't
It's
think
really
how we
fun.
would have met. You really after Wesleyan, except for more Wesleyan stuff.
Yeah, I mean, maybe down the road we might have.
but like you know,
It's crazy that
you're
we
somebody I
didn't.
text
yeah.
with like every week at this point. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
No.
It is cool.
Yeah. Is there anything that you wish you'd put into the story?
Porn.
We had a rule about that.
No.
We broke that.
You okay? There's like...
Bounce, wow, wow.
Just the audio.
Bounce, wow, wow.
Oh,
Don't come in.
no.
I'm busy. I'm working.
Oh my god.
No. Yeah, there's a couple different things. And there's like a long list of like moments that we wish we could have put in the show, or like sort of things about the characters that we wish had been able to make it into the show. It's ultimately one of those like, you know, I'm ultimately more proud of the show that stands together with all the stuff out of it. I'm trying to give an earnest answer here, Zach.
I love how it's lag, guys.
No, she's just getting into it.
Why no?
God bless all of you.
My reaction
no.
exactly.
There isn't sort of like anything like really, really huge that I'm like, oh, I wish that we'd had done that, but we hadn't.
Quality content,
Yeah. This is a gift.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do a question.
Oh, I'm crying. It's good.
Good.
I think that like the other thing that I'm really proud of with Wolf is all of the creative projects that this project has inspired.
Yes.
And that's like all of the fan art that y'all and people in the community
And
have
writing,
been
and
responsible
actual
for.
podcasts.
And other shows.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. No, that's the one that gets me the most, and like that's the one that like it is never any less affecting than it was the first time that we heard it.
It's a bit beyond me, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not quite sure how to deal with it, but it's cool that it's out there.
That was fun. What's next for everyone?
Sleep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go and let you guys answer this one because you know in intimate detail
Yes.
all of these things, and then I'm going to not be watching the stream attentively from the other room taking notes.
Well. Actually, Scotty, what are your plans
Yeah,
for
what
the
are you up
next
to?
year? What are you up to next year?
Next year?
Next year.
Oh man. I don't have a lot on my calendar.
Join the club.
So we can figure something out.
we could.
We could.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have like my day job, which is flexible.
Yeah.
Which I work for an environmental nonprofit that deals with solar energy education,
Yeah.
based in Northern California. So I'm all over California. So I fly back and forth a bunch there.
Well, there you go.
But no, I'm actually pretty excited about having an open schedule and finding fun projects in LA and beyond.
Nice.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Yeah, the only thing on my calendar right now through I'm working on some like online learning, like freelance work. I'm like basically like when I'm not working on all the projects that are kind of for fun, purely and like need to just like keep a roof over my head. I have an agency for like online learning and like live events and stuff for video. But I'm really excited to be touring Project Uplift beyond just the Eastern Seaboard, the mental health awareness campaign. And yeah, for anybody who's in college or has an office or like, you know, basically like if mental health, mindfulness, meditation, stress reduction programming is interesting, let me know, because I'm going to be doing more of that. But also I'm like looking at how I want to spend my time on my personal YouTube channel, podcasting. Like I definitely don't want to stop podcasting. Yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity and there's nothing specific that is like committed to at this point. So I'm excited to also just have some time and space to create in.
Yeah.
Word.
That's one of my things too. I have a goal to just like write more and do more like content creation. I mean, acting is wonderful too, but create my own stuff as well.
Cool.
That's kind of a goal for the next year.
That's great.
I also am really interested in getting in the online teaching game as a teacher.
Hey.
So if there's things you think that I could teach that you'd enjoy, let me know. And as for going to St. Louis, early March, first week of March. So I'll be coming back, theoretically back to New York after that, or moving on into the country. I am very likely going to rent an RV for the month and maybe take Tiffy on the road and just be like streaming. I don't know, we'll see. There's nothing committed to, but like that is a possibility that I'm entertaining.
And end up in LA?
I mean,
all the way?
Nice.
Why not?
May as well.
You can park on the
The
street.
kind of evil vehicle.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow. Heaven save us.
That's right.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything specific on my plate. I
Yeah.
have a day job which I enjoy, and very much looking forward to sleep, getting my head clear a little bit, and then doing more work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo! People are. Do I have plans to work with Penumbra Podcasts again? Not currently, but I'm also. They have my number. They're good people.
All right, now we have to go to Ohio and Arkansas.
Yes.
Yeah.
And California.
You've
Yeah.
got an
So we're just
itinerary
gonna-
already,
This tour.
It's up and down.
Let's
Yeah.
get Doug
Virginia?
Eiffel Live
Virginia,
greenlit.
yeah.
Let's get Doug Eiffel Live greenlit, not just Doug Eiffel Live across America
Sure.
with Project Uplift.
Great.
Sounds like a great year. Now I know what I'm doing next year. Thanks for answering
solved
my
it.
question.
Solved.
Great. I think maybe like last 3 questions.
Sure.
You guys want to pick one?
No.
Okay. I'm on it. Looping back in on early episodes of the show, how do you feel about them? Is there anything that you would go back and change if you could?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot. I mean, especially like, I think that we're all on record as saying that like we're all varying degrees of dissatisfied with the pilot, and that if there was like one episode that we could just like
Do a-
rewrite from scratch and do again with kind of the understanding of structure that we have now and understanding of the characters that we have now and understanding of kind of what the show was really about that we have now,
Yeah.
we want to redo the pilot.
Yeah.
But even like, you know, I think that all the way up to The Empty Man. The Empty Man is, I think, the first one that I'm like, that feels like Wolf 359, sorted and proper.
Yeah.
Everything up to that, there's
Wait,
always
was
like
Extreme
something.
Danger Bug first, or was Empty?
No,
Man first?
it's Empty Man,
And
then
yeah,
Extreme Danger Bug, then Am I Alone Now?
Yeah, no, that's the place. That's the place where it clicks.
Yeah. Everything before that, there's always a little bit of like, that's not quite what the show is. That's not quite what the show is. And like we've come a long way in terms of audio quality and in terms of audio editing. That's not really sort of anything that bothers
Christina
me.
Kirkland, would you ever consider doing a redo of the pilot, Penumbra
No.
style?
That way madness lies.
No.
No. Like, nothing against people that do that, but that's one of those like, if we start to consider that, then we'll be like, well, I mean, we already did the pilot, and then like it changes
Yeah.
so much going to
Yeah.
the second episode, so we might as well also do that.
Piling on another question in that, would you scrap the audio log format altogether, starting over from
No,
scratch?
no. That is.
I think
It is
it's more like
important to the show that it have that format for the first
Character and
year.
character dynamics would
Yes,
change a
right,
lot,
yes.
not necessarily the audio log format.
Yeah.
Right. Also, thank you for being more forgiving than the Star Wars fandom, including myself, for redoing things. Yeah, I wouldn't be so kind to us. Second to last question. What was your favorite? So I'll answer the other one. The looking back on the early. The Hilbert voice change still irks me as
Yeah.
something that was unskillful as an actor. Just finding that out and figuring that out later. And what are you gonna do?
Yeah, and that's one of.
I really like the headcanon of he just sipped an entire tank.
Yeah,
of helium.
we were talking about
Right,
this
and it
recently.
just sort of slowly went down over the
Right,
course
the
of
day,
several months.
yeah, the
Right.
day over,
Yeah.
the day before the pilot, he swallowed an entire gas tank of helium.
Well, it's like what the
Um,
Blessed Eternal releases when it's born.
Sure.
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
And it just took however many months to
Yeah.
kind of metabolize that.
Right.
Well, it's super helium,
Um,
of course.
Yeah, that's one of those, I'll take the hidden consistency for having an actor that is engaged with the character and actively seeking and actively trying to discover who the person is, instead of just kind of being like,
Right. And I think it's I would have liked to at least keep up that facade in earlier flashbacks, but it didn't make sense because it
No.
wasn't canonical.
you'd
It
be,
was just
and it'd be, you would have been lying to yourself, because,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, they've been putting so many drugs in the air system. Who knows?
This is true.
What was your favorite scene or line to write or perform in the show so far?
Ooh.
Sarah?
Um,
Or anyone that has an answer to this question.
I have to think for a second.
So this one time I wrote a sentence that was Minkowski. No. Alex H., I would love to bring Project Uplift to England. Let's talk. Zach at uplift.is. Email me anytime.
Scotty, do you have a favorite thing?
Favorite scene or line?
Yeah.
Oh, Cutter has so many. Cutter has just so many one-liners. I feel like a lot of episodes end on great Cutter one-liners.
This is true.
Yeah.
But I love Cutter's Harry Potter references. I love that he loves Harry
Yeah,
Potter.
yeah.
I think that's
pretty great.
wonderful. I love it when he quotes Dumbledore. We brought this up earlier, but I really like that line. It has always stuck with me, and maybe it helped me form my character. Was and I'll throw you off the roof and watch you go by my window as you
Right.
pass. That's always stuck with me as as a defining line of Cutter. So I would honestly say that that's my favorite one.
Right.
Nice.
So first, picture your butt. The mini episode is so funny. What's it like going to the bathroom in space? It's just such a
Well,
ridiculous episode.
Yeah.
Beep, and then you beep with the beep.
Yeah.
Not my favorite, but I'm just reminiscing.
Yeah.
Need to Know was a blast to write. And in terms of favorite character moments, that one has a lot of them. That is just
Yeah,
a
that's a
script.
If you had to pick
episode.
one of that,
I mean, it's kind of all you can cheat. It's kind of all one continuous scene, pretty much.
Yeah, but thinking of specific lines.
Right.
sit your Swiss ass down and pick a side, Doug.
That one was
That's
good.
pretty funny.
Yeah, that's
Alicia
from,
Rodriguez.
Yeah.
from
That's
Sound and Fury.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Did I mention how much I admire Switzerland? Spit your Swiss ass down and pick a side, Doug. Yeah, I mean, I think that maybe all of Jacoby's digs at Minkowski for loving musical theater
they're so
and
great.
just sort of like that was I think one of the moments of like that character picking on me of just like being like such an unnecessary bully and just like I'm just going to like be this mean in
Yeah.
this insignificant way. Yeah.
Yeah. I think like there was
Funk band.
yeah, a lot of fun stuff. In a weird way, like it wasn't. I think there are moments in Minkowski Commanding that I just adore.
Yeah.
Her speech about the harpoon was pretty fun. And I remember there's a line that I was super proud of in episode 15 where she's like, "I don't have a temper, I have an airlock." I really
Oh
liked
yeah,
that was
one.
line.
That was one of your
Yeah.
lads. Yeah, one of your
Yeah,
edits.
That's a good one.
Does Minkowski have a favorite musical?
We've talked
yeah.
about this a fair amount.
And I,
I
think we
mean,
sort of
Hamilton.
circle around.
Hamilton is
It
waiting
would
for
be-
her,
It's waiting for her if she
but
gets
she
back.
hasn't heard
She
it.
hasn't heard it.
It hadn't come
It's
out
a
when she went to
revelation.
space.
Yeah. So like
Um,
Les Mis is in that mix.
Yes.
I think there's a song in South Pacific that she really likes.
Yes. We've talked about her being like a Roger Dean
Roger
Hammerstein
Hammerstein
person.
person,
Yeah.
Not Miss Saigon.
Let's see.
No, it's like, no.
Quick question from the chat: how fun was writing the definitely not aliens reveal in 60 with all the laughing?
I mean, it's fun. It was more fun, I think, to hear you guys. Like, or to be in the studio and watch you and Michaela
Yeah,
play off
that
of
was
each
fun.
other.
Yeah.
Was really fun.
I'm tempted by that backstory though, and I think it's why that made it so great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always have.
No,
been.
and that was something that both of us had a lot of fun with.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was something that we were sort of like, we're not letting the show finish
Without
that
yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
Without
We're-
addressing it.
And specifically without like we're going to take sort of assumptions that people might have formed about these characters and have one of our characters voice those and
Yeah.
then have them shot down for
Yeah.
comedy. Like that was just a thing we were going to do.
And we were kind of searching for the moment from
Yeah.
55 onwards where that could happen.
And we have the last question.
Ooh.
Last question of the
Ooh.
night. Scotty, what was it like writing a mini episode?
Oh, it was really fun. Yeah, I've been, like I was saying, I want to write more, and I've written some scripts in the past, but I've mostly been focusing on acting. And acting is wonderful, and acting is creative, but there is a different level of creativity when you're creating something yourself. So I really appreciated the opportunity to do
Right.
it, and had a lot of fun. And
It
it's
was
really
It
fun
was really
fitting into sort of something that already exists. It gives you a little bit of structure, and it makes creating something easier. Whereas creating something completely from scratch can seem a little bit more intimidating. So I appreciated that little easy way to get back into script writing.
That's awesome. Yeah, my problem with being an actor is it requires being picked unless you're writing your own content.
Right.
Right.
And so that's why if you want to act, my advice to you is write. Like your life depended on it, because it will. Probably. Unless you get super lucky.
Yeah. It's kinda
Cool.
true.
Yeah.
This has been a
On
wrap.
that
of
uplifting note.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you guys so much for hanging out and for
you.
asking so many great questions.
This was a lot of fun. You guys.
You're the best around. No.
They may not know why that.
words.
They may not know why that's funny.
There was this one time where we were in the middle of a
Story time?
take.
Have you heard about this, Scotty?
I don't think so.
I'll
Do you
play
wanna
it.
tell the story?
No,
Please
you
do.
go
Do
ahead.
it.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
tell
Go
the
for
story.
it.
So basically, we're in the middle of the take, and I, actual stroke victim Zach Valenti, not actually, but wasn't really paying attention, and Cece said a line, and then was doing this thing called acting, where she took
Took
a
a
dramatic
pause.
pause,
Right.
and in my brain it was, ding, like they finished the take, great, and the last line was like, "You're the best," and like she was like stopping to say something, and I just jumped in with around. No, let you down.
Because in your mind it was like
It's
takes
take
over,
Yeah,
like
takes
cut.
Now we can have fun.
right, this
Yeah.
is gonna be super
And she's
funny.
in the middle of it.
She's in
And
the
she was
middle of a
her
take.
scene.
And then I realized it was like, oh, whoops, you guys are still acting. Like everybody's eyes turned to me. I was like, oh.
No, it was really,
And, like,
it was really
yeah. funny
because it was one of those sections when like almost everyone that was in the cast was present in that scene.
Yes.
And you just saw heads kind of go like,
Green.
slowly
Yeah.
turn.
No, and I mean, like, and it was you, me, and Jared in the control tower, and we just slowly
Slowly
turned to each
turn.
other.
I was like, what the fuck is that doing? It was like, oh, whoops, sorry, guys. You're in the middle of a take. I'm going to shut up now.
I listened to you, I swear.
Yeah, Cece took like a deep breath. Like, give me fucking patience. And then finished the scene, and it was so good.
She kept going, really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And then we finished,
Props
and
to her.
everybody died.
The show must
Everybody
go on.
burst into laughter
Yeah.
immediately.
This, I see you, chat. This is one of like maybe 4 moments that are like a genuine blooper in the show.
Yeah.
There's a couple of other things where it's like, oh, like Noah did a funny slate before starting like a take, and everybody laughed.
Like always.
Or like, you know, like
Zach Labresco
we
did
yell-
a funny voice.
or
just
we
before
say
started.
cut and someone makes a joke and
Yeah.
everyone laughs. That is one of the few genuine like something happened and it was really funny mid take. Other than that, these guys are such pros.
Around.
That-
Yeah,
Yeah, there's really
So
not
that's like taking on a
like-
special
yeah.
meaning.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We love
Well,
you
guys,
so much.
one more week of Wolf 359 and then we can all sleep, I suppose.
Yeah.
But no, stay tuned. After December 25th, we'll be talking a little bit about what's going to happen in the new year with the Patreon
Yes,
and with a
stuff
couple
that
of extras, a couple
Yeah.
of like other small things that we're going to be doing, kind of like DVD
manual,
bonus
which we
extras
have not forgotten
the
about.
manual, which we're definitely doing.
Do we have How Could Dare You on tape?
No.
No.
Hell no. That was on
That was
table
table
read.
read?
Yeah.
How could dare you merch?
No.
No.
No. I'll just make that separately. Maybe.
And then he was murdered. But yeah, and I think that as we sort of talk about that, inevitably there will also be news streaming in about new projects and new things that we're doing.
Yeah.
So stay tuned to that. Don't worry. Like
Yeah, stay
the show-
subscribed to the RSS feed
Yes.
Yes.
because we will
absolutely.
use it.
The show may be ending, but we're not going anywhere.
And yeah, thank you guys for sticking with us and hanging out. It was super fun tonight.
It was.
Yes,
it was.
Yeah.
it's really
This
fun.
has been a great break and a week full of a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta find the button now.
Yes, you do.
Gotta find the button.
I
Yeah.
gotta find the button. Oh, where's that button? Oh, button. That's not the button.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
We love you.